said namaste. I, Anuradha, would like to thank all of you for writing in your comments and suggestions on our YouTube and Spotify channels and liking, sharing, and subscribing our channels. Today, we have with us Andrew Shekhar Sharma ji. A warm welcome to you, sir.
My pleasure.
Sir is going to talk to us about a very beautiful principle on children from Bhavarth Ratnakar. As you know, we have been having a series of classes on Bhavarth Ratnakar in Hindi, and we continue with a very difficult and a different shlok from Bhavarth Ratnakar with sir. Sir, over to you on this topic.
As we bring on the shloka, you will understand. See, progeny is something which interests everybody.
Right.
And it is also interesting that the house which indicates progeny is also the house of your acquired knowledge. Those who have progeny will have got much knowledge about human beings as they grow up, the children grow up, isn't it? So that is, and it is also said to be the house of emotions. When disturbed, then one becomes emotional. Otherwise, it is acquired knowledge. And so this is what progeny is anyway. Some call it the future of the Jataka. In a way, yes, because after you, the next generation is the fifth house, which is indicative of progeny. Generally, the first progeny is indicated there. Now, this shloka has a very peculiar way of putting things. What is said is Panchamasya Adhipatinam Sambandho Yadi Vidyate. That means if there is a relation of the Lord of the fifth with Putra Karaka Jivasya, Jupiter, who happens to be the Karaka, that we can say the one who does something is called Karaka, indicator. Putra Prabalyam Adisha. Tell that there is a very powerful yoga of having son. Son always covers, I mean, daughters also. We have to remember that in Sanskrit, certain words are gender neutral. And for the sake of simplicity, it is called the Putra Bhava, but it can also indicate that. Now, what can I understand? Okay, Lord of the fifth, Lord of the, rather, the Karaka, the indicator of son or, I mean, progeny, coming together can indicate progeny. But what is so special about it? So, this is irrespective of their placement. This has to be understood. This does not necessarily mean they have to be in the fifth house, and even the Karaka for the fifth house, who is Jupiter, has to aspect it or be conjunct, and in the fifth house. This is irrespective of the houses. This one has to understand. Once we understand this, then we understand the beauty of the shloka. And idea is the fifth bhava is only, see, all bhavas are indicators of something. It indicates the acquired knowledge, the higher knowledge. It also is about, the progeny. It is also ninth from ninth. So even the grandfather, everything is indicated by the fifth bhava. So now, merely Jupiter and the fifth bhava lord coming together at any place, how can it do it? Will it also do it if there are malefics in the fifth bhava or malefics aspect in the fifth bhava? That is why he said Putra Prabalyam Adishet. It has two meanings. It means a powerful yoga for having progeny. It can also mean multiple progeny. I think it is talking about a powerful yoga of having progeny, irrespective of the negatives that might be indicated. This is perhaps the reason why they have, I mean, the great Ramanujacharya has written it like this. In Sanskrit, words are used in different fashion. So Prabal means strong, and strong can also mean multiple progeny, number of progeny. I don't think so. What is being said here is irrespective of anything and the placement anywhere of those things, there will be progeny. There is a strong possibility of having progeny. So even if not much progeny is indicated, progeny will be there. This should be the meaning of it, because this is Bhavartha Ratnakar. This is, churning of the ocean of meaning of bhavas and getting the gems out of it. So in this, so whatever is said has much deeper meaning behind it than normally understood. Is how we should rather look at it in that fashion. So And they said sambandha. Sambandha can be anything. It can be conjunction, it can be aspect, it can be, one planet aspecting another, another not aspecting one. All those come under the general meaning of progeny. We know that generally Jupiter aspecting the fifth bhava will grant progeny, but here it is not necessary because he said sambandho yadi vidyate. It is irrespective of bhavas. And this also indicates the importance of the karaka. It is not saying that the fifth law, it is not talking about the fifth house, which fifth house actually is the house of, it is only talking of the lord of the fifth house, which is body of the son or daughter or whosoever, the first progeny generally, and the karaka for progeny.
Yeah, so it's also.
So unlike otherwise, generally what we do is we look whether there is a powerful, I mean, if the fifth house is well fortified, it has got good strength, good aspects, and then we say the progeny will be there. Here something else is being said. Otherwise, in the first reading, one feels that, oh, this is okay, fifth lord, fifth karaka. But what we miss is he has not talked about the bhava. Whereas the entire, treatise is on bhavas and the meaning. So now they are trying to tell that even bhavas attributes can get sometimes transferred to the lord of the bhava. So this is another principle that we can make out of it. And the karaka for that bhava, if it is conjoined, then some growth will be there about that matter. So this can be applied to the sixth house, the seventh house, and all those houses for astrologers who understand that. And if there is a combination of the karaka and the lord of that house, then despite of everything, there will be something available. That is what it is saying. At least I understand it in that fashion. Otherwise, they would have said, Putram Dishet, Putra Adishet, Putra Prapti Adishet, that you get children. You say Prabal. Prabal means strong. So it can also be a strong progeny, but I don't think it is indicative of strong progeny because other planets also operate in the same chart. Malefics, we know, generally harms the house that it aspects. Now, for an example, we can have the chart of Queen Elizabeth II. Look here what is happening. The fifth lord is not placed in the fifth house. Jupiter, the Karaka, is also not placed in the fifth house, and being benefic, he is also not aspecting the fifth or the ninth house, which happens to be fifth from the fifth. So right. So that is also very relevant for progeny. He doesn't. What is happening is a very strong Mars. Mars is in its sign of exaltation. He is aspecting his own sign. Now it is said that if a malefic aspects his own sign in any bhava, he destroys the person indicated by that bhava. So here you have got a classic case for, abortion of the first child or it not being there at all. Plus, sun in strength is occupying the fifth bhava. Now, right. Sun is also capable of, burning off things, and so a powerful sun generally harms powerfully. One has to understand that he gives power is a different thing. If he is in the Lagna, he will have so much ego that it will hurt others. So we have to always understand this. But the Jupiter who offers, the saving grace is in debility. And it is not even aspect in the fifth. And still she had one son. Everybody knows. And that son, there is some harm there. That son has yet not become king because the queen still continues to reign. So that harm is there, but he is there, his body is there, he is operative. He might have had problems elsewhere. That is an absolutely different issue, isn't it? Because ultimately, son's spouse is indicated by the 11th house, and there a strong sun is aspecting. So what happened to his first marriage is known to everybody. So, and this is besides the point. But this is one chart. It is a sort of we can call it example chart. So you also find that this Jupiter and Mars are also malefically aspected by Saturn. So there is harm to both of them. Not only to the fifth house, there is harm to the Karaka but they are having sambandha, relation with each other, has given her one son. So this is the beauty of the Otherwise, normal, oh, Saturn is there, so there's something wrong. Karaka is also, affected. So this is the beauty of Bhavartha Ratnakar. Its shlokas are a bit complex to understand. At the first reading, we can get the meaning, but not the deeper meaning of it. And so, my father, as I always say, used to say, unless you understand Bhavartha Ratnakar, it is really difficult to come to a more or less right uh, conclusion. Let us put it this way.
Thank you, sir. So the syllabus that we are doing this time is quite interesting, that we are we're completing in the 6 sessions, very small sessions, but quite a lot of syllabus that we are doing. We have the Bhagya Yoga, we have the Vivaha Yoga, we have the Conveyance Yoga, and also the Children Yoga. One of the samples, one of the shlokas that you did see now come from that yoga, where and the best part is because the Bhavat Ratnakar really does not have it categorically written that you
No,
have.
not at all, not at all, not at all. See, even I mean, actually, it has about I think 382 or something like that shlokas, out of which half goes are and they are Lagna specific, ascendant specific. Even there, you will find 20 shlokas or 25 shlokas on Aries Lagna, that is Aries ascendant, and only 4 for Sagittarius ascendant. So it is really the Ratnas, the gems that are chosen by the great Ramanujacharya, and wherever there are exceptional things happening, he is only focusing on that. And this is what I usually call exception to the exceptions. So in astrology, generally people go by what is the standard one. I tell them, look at exceptions also. Here he goes a step further. He gives exception to even those exceptions. And that makes it better for us to understand the chart in depth. So this is
yes, sir. So here you have compiled, sir, all the shlokas for say Vahan, that is conveyance or things like that, into one category, one group, and then making things easy for us, isn't it, sir?
Easy to follow the logic also, isn't it? Because then the house lord, why a 4th house is talked about when Vahan is said, so it becomes easier. And see, there is nothing on my side except that I try to explain it at length. All credit goes to the great Ramanujacharya, who has done a really great work. I mean, certain of the bhavas, you will be surprised. You never think that they operate in that fashion. But when you apply them to the real life chart, you find that what he's saying is right.
That's a beauty. That's a beauty
of the it's a small book, and but it has something which is beyond understanding. I mean, beyond comprehension, how he could pick and choose those things and find out these exception to exceptions.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so very much.
Please hit the bell icon for fresh updates. Don't forget to like, share, and comment on the videos, and please subscribe to our channel.